Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Hi, my name is Lauren Weisberg. I am one of the members of the board, and I do also have a child with 15q syndrome. I'm really excited to introduce Amanda Pratt. She's here to talk about service dogs. So just a little bit about Amanda. She started her dog training career close to 12 years ago while working with other trainers and handlers in the dog obedience and hunting fields. She later grew into working with rescues and helped many with aggression and reactivity issues. 7 years ago, a disability came into her life that rocked her world, which made her have to be homebound and very unhappy. Scout was her first service dog and truly came into her life to become her saving grace. After training Scout, Amanda went on to work with other service dog companies and found a passion in the dog world she never knew about. Now she has a 4-year-old company that seems to be growing and working very well at training service dogs for people with disabilities. So this is Amanda Pratt of Scout's Legacy Service Dog.
Hi, you guys. Okay, so quick introduction of the two that I have with me, because obviously everyone likes to know. I have Addison. She's a white German Shepherd. She's turning 4, and she's fully trained for my disabilities. I'm very open about my disabilities. I have POTS and EDS, and that is where my heart is crazy and my joints pop out of socket easily. Just a quick introduction of those two things. Then the other one is a female golden retriever. Her name's Magnolia. She's 1 year old, so please disregard her puppy antics if she decides to get up and just kind of say no to me. Because puppies are like kids, man. So I actually am going to be here talking to you guys about service dogs, not about Scouts Legacy in specific, but just the laws and ideas of what a service dog is, how to get one, and basically the pros and cons of everything in the service dog world. It's not an easy world, I will say, but it is a very rewarding one for those who truly need it and think that they can handle one. So first thing, definition of a service dog. I pulled this from the ADA website specifically because a lot of people get confused with what a service dog is. So just a quick reading, service animals are defined as dogs that are individually trained to do work or perform tasks for people with disabilities. Then it goes on to explain what tasks are, things like that. And then dogs whose sole function is to provide comfort or emotional support do not qualify as service animals under the ADA. So, quick breakdown of that. I have a nice little puppy. Hey, yeah, I told everyone you were going to be puppy. Down. Hey, all the way. Oh, thank you. Stay. I'm going to go up and down this thing a lot, I guess. All right, so I talk about what it means in this next slide. So, service dogs and tasks. We read that in the definition, and a lot of people get confused about what a task is. A task is not basic obedience. Okay, a lot of people will say, my dog knows sit, stand, down, come. It's task trained. And I'm like, unfortunately, that's basic obedience trained, and that is awesome because your service dog needs that for sure. But a task is something that helps the person with a disability to live a more normal functioning life. So good ideas of tasks are item retrieval. For someone like myself, where bending over can sometimes cause me to pass out, woohoo! So instead, we teach our dogs to pick up dropped objects, such as Addie. Addie, can you wake up? Thank you. Pick it up. Get it. I know. She's like, okay, hold up. Your sister sat on it. No, you're such a puppy. Stop. Addie, get it. Don't worry about the sister. Or not, I guess. But anyway, that's item retrieval, if Addie wants to do it. Come on, Magnolia. I know, the puppy, man. That puppy. She's probably going to act like a puppy the rest of this day. Come here. Good job, Addie. Magnolia? Wait. You can sit and wait. But item retrieval, handicap buttons. I know a lot of you guys have kids who might either be wheelchair bound in the future or currently are, and pushing a wheelchair and trying to hit the handicap button can sometimes, that itself can be a daunting task. So we do teach dogs to do that. The very normal stuff, diabetic alerts, seizure alerts, all those are tasks. Some of the things that people don't think about are psychiatric service dogs and emotional support dogs. They kind of get the two confused often. It's my next slide. So hold on. Addie, So they get the two confused quite often. Emotional support, Addie, therapy, and service dogs, Addison. Girl. She's like, dang. She's trying to find a place to lay down where she can go under the table because that's what she's trained to do. She does not like to sit out in front and be looked upon. She's like, I'm not as pretty as you think, Mom. All right. So psychiatric service dogs get confused as emotional support animals quite often. A lot of people think all they need is a dog to be there for comfort. And again, they do not get the same public access rights as someone with a service dog because a psychiatric service dog is still task trained. They can be trained to do things such as deep pressure therapy, which helps alleviate anxiety, and it helps lower your blood pressure, and it helps lower your heart rate. So that's great for people with anxiety issues. Psychiatric service dogs can also be trained to find the exit, find the car, get help, find a specific person that you went there with. So like Addison knows how to find my husband, my best friend, and then my daughter. So, because we all live together, so we might as well find them. So we have taught her that. They can also learn things such as getting the meds for those who do have psychiatric issues and things like that. But that's just a quick psychiatric side versus emotional support side. ESAs are needed in this world, okay? They are amazing, but they do not get public access rights. So they are more of the stay at home, they can live in non-pet friendly housing, and they can fly currently. There's a few rules trying to change that right now, so we'll see what happens in the future. But currently, ESAs can fly. So let's cross our fingers that can keep going. Okay, you can have a treat. All right, stay. So, and then therapy dog is different. I was like, oh wait, I did forget something. Therapy dogs are basically trained to go out in public and provide service and emotional comfort to other people. So someone would own the dog, and then they would go to nursing homes, go to schools for reading time. They would go to police stations. There's a lot of therapy dogs who do that. So they are invited into places to provide comfort to others. They don't provide comfort to their person. Okay. So this gets us into what's required of a service dog. This one I could talk about forever. I did bullet points for myself, but I'm just going to free throw it. So first thing that everyone gets confused about is that people think that they need to go online and register their dog, because when people research service dogs, the first 2 pages, usually on the internet, says register your service dog here. Okay, and it's so convincing that so many people get scammed out of it. So legally in the United States, there is no such thing as a service dog registration. Okay, so what that means is your dog being legally a service dog has to 1, be task trained, 2, be basic obedience trained, and 3, be public access trained if it's going to be a service dog. Now, that's a wide variety of information. Basic obedience, again, is your sit, down, stays, comes, leave it, watch me, all of that. In my company, we teach the dogs over 56 basic obedience commands alone. So this is not just your typical, my dog knows sit. This is a very intense program for our dogs. Then the second thing is public access trained. So your dogs need to be okay with going out and doing a lot of different things. Again, my dogs have flown, they've been to amusement parks, we've been to Disney and restaurants and typical everyday grocery shopping. Your dog should be able to do it all. It takes a while to get there though. So it's about 2 years worth of training. If you're lucky, 18 months, but really that 2-year mark is more of the magic number. So this can get pretty daunting for a lot of people because 2 years is a very long time to think ahead. Because a lot of people think, my child needs help now, not 2 years from now. But remember, these are still dogs and not robots, so they do take a while. You have to work with the animal, and at the end of the day, they still need to be treated like a dog. They have off times and things like that. Some people get confused and think, okay, well, my service dog is a service dog, and I get to go in, and if my dog acts up, it's a service dog. You cannot kick me out. And unfortunately, that is a very big misconception in the service dog world. Service dogs can legally be asked to leave a premises if they relieve themselves, if they're barking uncontrollably, or if they're acting uncontrollably, such as pulling on the leash, jumping on people, typical dog things that you don't want of a service dog. All right, so of course that brings us to the cost of a service dog. I know a lot of people usually ask this question, and it's the hardest conversation to have with people. So there are 4 different options for a lot of people. Really, it's 2 options broken down into multiple options. So the first option is going to be a program trained dog. Okay, say you cannot physically train the service dog yourself. That is okay. You need to be honest with yourself about that. Please know that that is not a bad thing to think about. But if you're looking at a program, there are many programs that do provide free service dogs, which is amazing. The con of that, there it is, there's my Winham. The con of getting a free dog is that there is a 3 to 5 year wait list for those dogs. Again, if you think about it though, it takes 2 years to train them. So the people who have been on the wait list for 3 to 5 years, they have been waiting for their dog to be born, for their dog to be trained, and then they finally get to do the training themselves and be matched with the dog. So that is the con. And then the other thing is some service dog programs aren't free. It's a lot of money to train these dogs. It's about $45,000 to $50,000 to fully train these animals for a program. So a $30,000 dog still does not cover all the costs for the dog that they have put into it, unfortunately. So that's something to always consider is what can I do? You know, how can I provide a service dog for my child? How can I look into these things? If you think your child needs one in 3 to 5 years, or even if it needs one today, you can say, hey, we should probably start applying to places now. Because you don't know what's going to happen and how those service dog companies are going to grow. Some companies already have closed wait lists for the next 3 years, and they're not accepting applications for another while. So that's something to always think about, is to try and get on wait lists early on if you need to make sure that you need a program-trained dog. Another option is owner training. Now, you can do this a few different ways. You can fully train it yourself without the help of a trainer. It is a very cheaper cost, but it is really hard to do. Or you can work with a trainer who does service dog training, and they can teach you how to do it. This cuts back the wait time, because with owner training, the dog's already in your house. You can start teaching it tasks fairly early on, and then usually around the 1 year mark, like Magnolia, they're going out and doing things, maybe not as often as a dog like Addison, but they can still help periodically. So that's a very big relief for a lot of people. But there are costs involved with owner training. So the biggest thing is you have to sit down and consider, do I get a rescue? Do I get a purebred? Do I get a health certified dog? There's a lot of different things to look at. So the cheapest you'd probably be spending on a dog is about $300, but it can go all the way up to $3,500 just for the dog itself, okay? Not for anything else you're paying for. So then I broke it down for typical dog expenses: cost of food, vet expenses, training expenses, your dog's daily needs such as toys, chews, you name it, dog's got to have it. So these are definitely not something that people just jump into and say, I don't have much money for this, but I'm going to do it. And I'm like, that's great. Makes me so excited. But you have to look at all of the expenses that come with the animal. Again, this is 2 years worth. This isn't something you're paying up front. But you can see why some programs charge up to $30,000 for their dogs, because they're paying for these expenses now. So that's the cost. And I always have this question from amazing family like yours saying, I have a child and they need blank. And they'll come to me and they're like, I have a child and they really like German Shepherds. And I get a little itchy there. If you have never trained a service dog in your life, if you have never fully trained your own dog, you might want to stick with some easier breeds. So things to consider. Hi, easier breeds being Goldens. Yes, you. Hey, I promise, she's actually a really easy dog. She's just being a puppy right now. We've been at the Dallas Dog Show already this morning, so she's just like done with me. So the easier breeds to think about are Golden Retrievers. So that's Honey and then Marcus up there. I have 2 of them on there. And then labs. Labs are this next easier ones. They are different than golden, so you have to consider your temperament, your lifestyle. If you do not have the energy to put into a lab puppy, which usually is like up here in energy, then maybe a golden is better, because yes, they have energy, but it's not up here. So be honest with yourself. So 1, what's my energy level? 2, what can I handle? 3, what's the size of dog that I need? A lot of people don't ask themselves these questions. Yeah, you. You're such a puppy. Hey, sit. All the way. You're being a brat. Come on. Magnolia. Down. Oh, my Lanta. You're so cute. Oh, my goodness, puppies. So again, puppies, they're dogs, you guys. They're not robots. But yeah, so what's the size that you need? Some people say, I need a dog that can help my child with reminding them to take their meds, or to go get the meds during a seizure, or to come tell me when a seizure is happening. All of that, usually a smaller dog isn't a great option, just because they can't open the doors to get to you. So those are things to consider. Hey, if my door is shut and my child starts having a seizure, how is my dog going to be able to tell me? Things like that. So, these are things that service dog trainers always get to think about, but our cute clients don't. Yes, you're being a puppy. So the top 3 options are labs, goldens, and standard poodles. For people who have allergy issues, standard poodles are a great option. They bond well, they bond quickly, they have energy to do the job, but they're not crazy about it. Unlike my labs. Labs are amazing once they're 3. Just make it to 3 and then you are solid. Goldens are a lot easier. But I do have a bunch of dogs in my program. So if you can tell, I have 2 other dogs up there. I have Hulk, and he is a rescue, and he's amazing, but he's a mutt, and that's okay. And then I have my German Shepherd, who's over there. Again, amazing, but okay. It is not about the breed of dog specifically that can be a service dog. We can have 2-pound Chihuahuas be service dogs, all the way up to a 200-pound Great Dane. We can have anything like that. A service animal can even be a miniature horse in the United States. So it is not about the dog itself, it is going to be about the temperament. So you don't want to just go to the shelter and grab some random dog and say, you are going to be my next service dog, because that might not work out. A lot of service dog companies will fail a dog within the first year of their life. It's a very low success rate whenever you're working with like guide dogs and service dog companies who breed them and use the whole litter. With my company, we specifically temperament test dogs. So that way we can cut back on taking the duds. They're good dogs. They're amazing pets, but we call them duds just because they didn't work as service dogs. They're not dud dogs. They're just good pets. So, there is a difference in temperament. We need a dog who wants to do the job, first off. We also need a dog who's not going to spook easily. A dog who is terrified of things obviously is going to need more service than maybe your child does at that point in time. So you don't want to be there and servicing your service dog. That's not what we want. We also want to make sure that they are healthy, because, well, hello there. You guys, she's done with me. She is so done. I'm just going to hold her. She's done. But we want to make sure they're healthy. So grabbing an old crippled dog probably wouldn't serve you that well, because, if it's going to break down on you, then it's probably not going to be able to do the job. So a healthy dog is still a better option. But being honest about your home, your circumstances, is going to be the first step. If you can handle a higher energy breed, great. If not, then don't take one. Other things to consider are breed instincts. Okay, a good example is my German Shepherd versus my Golden Retriever. If something were to run past us, my German Shepherd wants to chase it to hurt it, my Golden Retriever wants to chase it to pick it up in her mouth. So those are things to consider. If you have young kids, herding breeds usually aren't a great option, because they're moving around, they're running, and herding breeds saying, hey, come this way, and they nip at their heels. Instincts. Okay, you're not going to take away the instincts from a young age. They're going to just be there. So being honest about your family and your situation is the very big step for service dogs. I know. Those are my dogs. I love my dogs, man. Come here. All right. So with training, again, it's 2 years of work. We make sure that we take them to as many places as we can. These are just a lot of dogs, you guys. That one over there, that's Magnolia. She's so cute and little in that picture. I just like to show her off. But these are just some of the dogs in my company. We do outings with a group of dogs 4 times a month because of how important it is to get that socialization in there. Training-wise, again, 56 basic obedience commands for my dogs. These are not just regular pets. These are working animals. Biggest thing is making sure that you understand how the public is going to react. It is sometimes a great reaction. Like today we came in, you guys were so awesome. It was so much fun walking around with my dogs and not feeling like I was crazy. But we came in, we had a great reaction. Other places, we don't always get that reaction. So being able to handle conflict is going to be a big part of owning a service dog. Understanding the laws, how it pertains to you, things like that. You're going to have to be able to stand up for yourself sometimes. So that is a downfall of having a service dog. So for children or young people with anxiety, it helps some, but it hinders others. So those are things to always take into consideration. And the last thing is going to be a service dog in training is different than a service dog. So here in the state of Texas, we are legally allowed to take our service dogs in training anywhere that a service dog can go. But in other states, it's different. So you always have to follow your state's laws. I know everyone here is so vast and everywhere, so it's awesome. But I don't know everyone's state laws. I know a lot, but I don't know everyone's. So those are things you have to take into consideration is what does your state laws say according to service dogs and training.